off to a good start. It's Tuesday, happy Tuesday. I went and did my walk this morning. I went to Starbucks, but I didn't actually go inside. I sat in the parking lot to use their Wi-Fi and I kind of just scrolled on my phone for a little while, and it was just a nice, quiet little bout of alone time before I have to come home and start the day. So I just made a cheddar jalapeno bagel with some avocado on it. So I'm gonna have that. I have some water, so I'm gonna have breakfast. I think that the kids already ate. I made their lunches. It's about 11 o'clock, so we are gonna get ready to start our homeschool day, and they will start to take their showers, get dressed, do their morning hygiene and all of that. Sissy has to go to work today, so on the days that she works in the afternoon, I find that it's easier for us to just do our school hours like later in the evening. So what we'll do is drop her off and then we'll head over to the library. They can log on, they can get their Me Academy course load done, and then we have books that we need to return, new books to get. So I have them cycling through their reading. They have to read every day for 30 minutes. And then Preston is getting ready to start a chapter book. So he's doing chapter books right now and he gets so irritated, but they're gonna read. Reading is fundamental and it's necessary. So he'll have to get a new book, and then we will have lunch at the park. I think they should be okay to go outside to the park now, and then we will head back home. Today is Tuesday, so I have to make sure that the vlogcast is ready to be loaded up for YouTube and Spotify. So I'm scrolling on Pinterest right now. I had some pins that I needed to post. Like, little word of FYI for you guys, if you are like a blogger, vlogger, if you have a small business or like a website that you need to drive traffic to, if you have a podcast, like anything like that, Pinterest is such an undercredited platform to use to put your stuff out there. So Pinterest really blew up for me during the time that Instagram first started the highlights and the highlight icons. I remember I was on a bus and I was headed to Vegas with my friend, and I was posting and making and creating all of these like highlight covers, and it like blew my Pinterest up. I was getting over like 2.2 million views on the pins that were coming through. And so the higher your number of viewership is for people that see your pins, the better chance you have of pinning your own items and then having them be clickable. So you can basically post your own pins, add your link to where you want people to go, and then pin them, and then it will drive traffic back to your own place. So I usually get on Pinterest every day and make sure that I have at least a couple of pins that I'm gonna pin, as well as checking like my own analytics, and then I go through, and I'm definitely still a pinner. So I pin a bunch of stuff to my boards. I know there's like that new site, I think it's called like Lemon 8 or something like that, which is kind of like similar to, I guess, like Pinterest and Instagram and TikTok all sort of like rolled into one. I never downloaded it though, so I'm not really sure like exactly how it works, but Pinterest in my opinion is still like a top tier site to join. That's what I'm gonna do right now while I sit here and try to eat this bagel, is go through and do some of the stuff that I need to do on Pinterest. I also wanted to just check in for a minute and share like how I'm doing or how I'm feeling. I feel like I haven't done a check-in, sit-in video in quite a while, and this video won't be it. We are homeschooling today and we are just going through the day in the life, but just a simple quick check-in, because I know I shared in the last video that I watched this movie the other night, which like totally had me like all up in my feels, and it just got me to thinking that like I'm heading into the fall season and like heading into the season of all of these different anniversaries. And last year for me, this season was sort of up and down. It was very wavy in the grief space. And so year 2 has by far been much more challenging than the first year. And I've learned a lot about grief. I've talked to a lot of people about grief and grieving and living life after loss. But I think that year 1 is such a blur because you're still just in this state of, there's the shock, there's the brain fog, there's just so many different elements that are happening that you don't really remember it all. It's all kind of a blur. Year 2 feels sobering. I like to say that the dust has finally settled and now you can very clearly assess and see what the damages are. So it's definitely been like an eye-opening year and an eye-opening place and space. And I've had a lot of moments of feeling like, holy shit, like this really genuinely happened. And so here we are. But I'm okay so far. I shared on my TikTok a little story time of my bachelorette weekend because all the pictures are coming back up in my Facebook memories. So I did go in and share, and I felt like that was a really fun share. It didn't feel heavy or sad. It just kind of felt like I can share it, and I'm okay with it. It was a fun time, space, and moment in my life. But we are approaching like what would have been our 9-year wedding anniversary, and so it's just weird to think that like 9 years ago, like who would have thought that like in just 9 short but long but short years, like I'd be sitting here and my husband, who I was getting married to, would be just a memory, right? So those are kind of some of what I'm juggling around with just in real life, in personal life, like raw and real. So, but I just wanted to check in and share that. I'll talk a little bit more about how the grief journey has treated me in year 2, because I know I haven't really done any videos this year that have talked a whole lot about this process for me. And I didn't really want the channel to end up turning into like this grief channel, but I have since done a lot of grief work, and on top of that, like created space on other platforms and my own little personal communities that are able to like pour into the grief space. So it's kind of become this part of my life that doesn't seem like it's really going anywhere. So I probably will bring more topics, but from just like a casual place of conversation, like into the whole thing. So I'm gonna eat, I'm going to pin, and then in a little while we'll get up and get situated with the rest of the day. I also think that I need to stop by Walmart today, and I feel like I just was there yesterday, but I don't have any ink for my printer, and it's been like 2 months since we've started back to school. I don't even think I've had ink. We ran out in the summer, but I'm realizing that I definitely need ink. Like printing papers for homeschool is a part of our process. I am a paper printer. I need to have the stuff printed out. Also, I wanted to share that last night I filed the PSA for homeschool, the private school affidavit for homeschooling in California. And I don't know what I was so like nervous about, or like what it felt like the struggle was about. It was the easiest thing, but I did find a video, and they did a PSA filing party, and so they walked through the entire process. So I just followed along and I did it with the video. Easy peasy, took like 12 minutes and it was done. So I'm so happy that that part is done. Those have to be filed by the 11th of October, I believe it is, every year if you are homeschooling in California. So if that's something that you like need help with and you're in California, let me know and I can send you the link for the video that I watched, but it was super, super easy. So yeah. We got our Dutchbros. So we stopped at Dutchbros. We actually have one in our little city now. We used to go to Dutchbros like all the time in Vegas. When I first got to Vegas, Starbucks was not like a place that people went to as regularly as it seems like out here in California. Like in Vegas, everybody was on Dutchbros. So when we first moved there, it was like, oh, what's Dutchbros all about? And then I had I think it was like a frozen, one of the blended drinks, a freeze, and I was blown away. It was so damn good. But honestly, Dutchbros is really sweet. At least that's the way that I get mine. That's the way I've always gotten them from the first time I've tried it. But we finally just got one here in the city that I live in, so it's usually always pretty crowded because there's only one. But we stopped and got a little Dutchbros today.